Have you ever felt utterly drained after trying to help someone, only to realize you've been caught in a toxic cycle? In a world that praises kindness, the Stoics teach us a crucial truth. Not all help is noble. Sometimes extending your energy to certain people doesn't heal, it harms. It strips away your peace, steals your joy, and weakens your soul. Today we'll expose 9 types of toxic people who, no matter how much you give, will only take and take, leaving you emptier than before. If you want to protect your inner calm and master the art of wise compassion, this video will change how you see kindness forever. Let's dive deep into Stoic wisdom and learn when helping becomes enabling, and why saying no is the greatest kindness you can offer yourself. Number 1. Emotional manipulators. In Stoicism, one of the foundational goals is to cultivate ataraxia, a serene state of inner peace undisturbed by external turmoil. Emotional manipulators threaten this state because they hijack your empathy and goodwill, turning your compassion into a weapon against your own tranquility. They skillfully use guilt, shame, and obligation as tools to control your behavior, making you feel as though their emotional suffering is your burden to carry. But as Marcus Aurelius teaches us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you surrender your peace to another's emotional demands, you give away your power and your freedom. Emotional. Manipulators often position themselves as perpetual victims, experts at framing their struggles so that you feel morally compelled to rescue them. They evoke your deepest sense of duty and kindness, convincing you that to refuse them would be callous or selfish. Yet, the Stoics warn us to distinguish between true virtue and mere appearances of virtue. Helping out of guilt or social pressure is not virtuous. It is a surrender to passion, which the Stoics regard as a form of weakness and slavery. Epictetus, a former slave-turned-Stoic teacher, emphasized that what truly matters is your own judgment and response. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, he said. Emotional manipulators seek to dictate your reactions by stirring your emotions and making you doubt your own reason. This undermines your autonomy and leads you down a path of self-neglect and exhaustion. To live according to Stoic wisdom means cultivating apatheia, a freedom from destructive passions, not indifference to others, but resilience against being controlled by their emotional chaos. Setting firm boundaries is not cruelty. It is an act of self-respect and justice, both to yourself and others. Seneca advised that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity with courage. Refusing to enable emotional manipulation is a courageous act of self-mastery. It preserves your rational mind and guards your energy, enabling you to offer genuine help when it is truly appropriate and healthy. Remember, your energy and peace are not inexhaustible resources. The Stoic path teaches that the first duty of the wise person is to care for their own soul, because only from a place of strength and virtue can you genuinely serve others. Helping should empower both giver and receiver, never leaving one depleted and the other dependent. When you recognize emotional manipulation, practice compassionate detachment, care with wisdom, love without losing yourself. This is the essence of Stoic kindness, the kind that liberates rather than enslaves. Number 2. Narcissists. Narcissists demand constant admiration and validation, using others as mere tools to feed their fragile egos. From a Stoic viewpoint, This behavior reveals a profound lack of inner virtue and self-mastery. Seneca taught that true greatness comes from within, grounded in wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, not from external applause or fleeting praise. The narcissist's endless craving for attention and control is a form of apathy, passions that disrupt the soul's harmony. They seek to inflate their own importance by diminishing yours, viewing relationships as transactions rather than genuine human connections. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. This mindset prepares the Stoic to face difficult personalities with equanimity and without attachment. Engaging with narcissists is dangerous because they erode your self-worth by making your value conditional on their approval. The Stoic ideal is to ground your self-esteem in your own virtue and rational judgment, independent of others' opinions. Epictetus advised, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well." This means accepting that some people will seek to manipulate your esteem, and choosing not to be swayed. Helping a narcissist often means enabling their delusions of grandeur or tolerating their exploitation of your goodwill. The Stoic's task is to recognize when aid is no longer kindness, but complicity in their destructive patterns. Practice apatheia, remaining calm and centered, and maintain clear boundaries. You can show kindness without sacrificing your self-respect or becoming a pawn in their game. Ultimately, the Stoic path teaches that genuine human connection arises from mutual respect and shared virtue, not from admiration demanded or control exerted. Protect your peace by refusing to feed the narcissist's hunger for validation. Focus instead on your own growth, knowing that true fulfillment comes from mastering yourself, not from trying to master others' perceptions. Number 3. Chronic complainers. Chronic complainers habitually focus on what's wrong in their lives and the world around them, creating a relentless soundtrack of negativity that drains not only their own energy, but also that of everyone nearby. From the perspective of Stoicism, this persistent dissatisfaction is a sign of a mind enslaved by passions, and irrational judgments that disrupt inner harmony and cloud reason. Seneca reminds us that a man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Chronic complainers suffer and cause suffering needlessly by fixating on external events they cannot control, rather than cultivating the inner virtues that lead to true contentment. The core Stoic teaching is that it is not external circumstances that disturb us, but our judgments about them. Epictetus's wisdom that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters, is particularly relevant here. Chronic complainers refuse to apply this principle. They allow their minds to become consumed with grievances, magnifying obstacles and setbacks until life seems unbearably difficult. This constant negativity acts like emotional quicksand, pulling you deeper into frustration and helplessness if you engage too deeply. The danger of prolonged interaction with chronic complainers is that their perspective can become contagious, eroding your own peace of mind and shifting your focus away from what you can change, your own thoughts and actions. Marcus Aurelius counsels us to be tolerant with others and strict with yourself, which means listening with patience, but holding firm to your own rational center. You must protect your mental space vigilantly to preserve your ataraxia, your unshakable tranquility. When you try to help a chronic complainer by absorbing their complaints without encouraging responsibility and growth, you risk enabling their victim mentality. The Stoics emphasize self-discipline and personal accountability as the path to freedom. Offering aid should empower someone to rise above their difficulties, not drag them deeper into despair. Helping that reinforces dependency is not true kindness, but a disservice to both parties. Stoic philosophy invites you to practice compassionate detachment. Care deeply, but do not be consumed by others' persistent negativity. You cannot force change on someone who refuses to take ownership of their own mindset. Setting firm boundaries is an act of self-respect and an expression of the justice owed to yourself. Encourage the chronic complainer gently towards gratitude, acceptance, and rational action, but do not let their constant dissatisfaction rob you of your peace. Remember, true kindness is rooted in virtue and wisdom. It means guiding others toward self-mastery, not enabling endless grievance. Your energy and serenity are sacred. Guard them wisely, so you remain a source of strength rather than exhaustion. Number 4. Users. Users are individuals who exploit your generosity, your time, your energy, often without any intention of genuine connection, reciprocity, or gratitude. They treat kindness as a resource to be drained, rather than a sacred bond to be nurtured. From the Stoic perspective, this behavior reveals a fundamental disregard for the cardinal virtues of justice and wisdom. Seneca reminds us that true friendship multiplies the good in life and divides its evils, but users distort the very nature of human relationship by taking without giving, turning friendship and kindness into one-sided transactions that leave you depleted and resentful. The Stoics teach that relationships are meant to cultivate virtue and mutual growth. When someone acts as a user, they reduce others to mere tools for their own benefit, ignoring the reciprocal respect and care that form the foundation of authentic bonds. Marcus Aurelius wisely counseled, "Choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been." This is a powerful reminder that while you cannot control others' intentions, you have absolute control over your response. Allowing yourself to be exploited is a choice, and one that violates your own reason and self-respect. Users often drain your physical and emotional resources, whether through endless requests, emotional demands, or manipulative tactics that guilt you into giving more than you should. The Stoic ideal of generosity is not blind charity, but a virtue exercised with prudence and wisdom. When generosity enables selfish or exploitative behavior, it no longer serves virtue, it becomes complicity in harm. True generosity uplifts both giver and receiver, fostering independence and virtue, not dependence and exploitation. To live in accordance with Stoic wisdom is to cultivate discernment in your relationships. Helping others should be an act of reasoned choice, not obligation or exploitation. Epictetus taught that you must distinguish clearly between what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control whether someone uses you, but you can control whether you allow it. Setting firm boundaries is an act of justice toward yourself, preserving your tranquility and capacity to give meaningfully where it truly matters. Refusing to be a user's tool is not selfishness. It is an essential practice of self-mastery and self-care, maintains your dignity, and preserves the quality of your generosity. Remember, the Stoic sage gives freely but wisely, ensuring that their kindness does not become a source of weakness or harm. By guarding your energy and resources, you protect your inner harmony and ensure your kindness remains a powerful force for good. Number 5. Drama magnets. Drama magnets are those who thrive on chaos, conflict, and emotional upheaval. They pull others into their storms, seeking attention and stimulation through turmoil rather than peace. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior is the antithesis of ataraxia, the unshakable tranquility of the wise soul. Marcus Aurelius exhorted us to be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Drama magnets, however, seem to delight in stirring the waves, disrupting the calm not only within themselves, but in everyone they touch. The Stoics teach that the external world is indifferent. What matters is our own reasoned response. Drama magnets attempt to hijack your reason by feeding on emotional reactions, anger, frustration, anxiety, pulling you into cycles of conflict and distraction. Epictetus reminds us, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you allow yourself to be dragged into their emotional chaos, you surrender your freedom and peace to forces outside your control. Drama magnets often seek to center attention on themselves by escalating minor issues into crises, sowing discord and dissatisfaction. They are driven by passions that cloud judgment and upset the soul's harmony. The Stoic ideal is to maintain apatheia, freedom from destructive passions, not indifference or callousness, but an imperturbable calm that cannot be shaken by external disturbances. Engaging with drama magnets without boundaries risks exhausting your mental and emotional resources. As Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Drama magnets thrive on your emotional investment, but you have the power to withhold it. Compassionate detachment means caring for them without becoming enmeshed in their chaos. Setting clear boundaries and cultivating emotional resilience are acts of wisdom and self-preservation. It is not selfish to protect your tranquility. It is necessary. By refusing to feed the drama, you become like the Stoic cliff, steady, unyielding, a calming presence in turbulent waters. Ultimately, the Stoic path teaches that peace is a choice rooted in virtue. You cannot control the drama others create, but you can control your response. Choose serenity over chaos. Let your life be an example of reasoned calm in a world full of storms. Number 6. Victims. Victims are those who habitually evade responsibility, blaming others or external circumstances for their difficulties and relying on you as a crutch. From a Stoic perspective, this attitude reflects a failure to accept the fundamental truth that while we cannot control external events, we always have control over our judgments and actions. Epictetus famously declared, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The victim mindset, however, surrenders this power, trading agency for helplessness and dependence. The Stoics teach that freedom and tranquility arise from mastering oneself, not from changing others or circumstances. Marcus Aurelius urged, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Victims deny this core Stoic principle by externalizing blame, thus preventing themselves from cultivating virtue and resilience. They seek comfort in others' sympathy, rather than in their own reasoned action. When you help a victim without encouraging self-accountability, you enable their avoidance of growth and virtue. This does not align with Stoic kindness, which seeks to uplift and empower. Seneca warned that no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity with courage. By continuously shielding victims from the consequences of their choices, you deny them the opportunity to develop courage and wisdom. Victims often rely on your energy and goodwill, creating a one-sided dynamic where your well-being is sacrificed for their perpetual grievances. The Stoic ideal requires setting firm boundaries and practicing apatheia, remaining undisturbed by their complaints while offering help that encourages responsibility. Compassionate detachment means caring enough to guide, but not enough to be pulled into their helplessness. Remember, the path to a virtuous life is through self-mastery, not dependence. True kindness helps others reclaim their power, not hold on to excuses. Protect your peace by recognizing when your help enables avoidance rather than growth. Walk away if necessary, knowing that your first duty is to your own inner tranquility and virtue. Number 7. Envious individuals. Envy is one of the most corrosive and subtle poisons to the soul, a dangerous emotion that the Stoics warned us to guard against with vigilance. Envious individuals resent the success, happiness, or virtues of others, not because they seek justice, but because they perceive another's good fortune as a personal loss. Seneca famously described envy as the ulcer of the soul, a destructive force that gnaws not only at the envier's character, but also sows discord and toxicity in relationships and communities. From a Stoic perspective, envy arises from false and irrational judgments, the mistaken belief that another's good diminishes your own, when in fact true good is found only in virtue and character, which are neither limited nor diminished by another's success. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Envy pollutes that quality by filling the mind with bitterness, comparison, and resentment. Envious individuals often disguise their hostility through subtle undermining, backhanded compliments, or passive-aggressive behavior. Their presence can drain your emotional energy and chip away at your confidence, leaving you unsettled and distracted. In such an environment, genuine connection, trust, and growth become nearly impossible. Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what is truly good and what is merely indifferent. External things, wealth, status, recognition, are indifferent. They have no inherent moral value. Epictetus exhorts us, "Don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do." Envious people cling tightly to desires and attachments, suffering because reality does not conform to their wishes. This refusal to accept the natural order of things perpetuates their dissatisfaction and bitterness. When it comes to dealing with envious individuals, Stoic kindness must be tempered with wisdom and discernment. True kindness does not mean tolerating harm or allowing toxic behavior to fester. Instead, it means encouraging reflection, self-awareness, and the cultivation of virtue. Setting clear boundaries to protect your peace is an act of justice toward yourself and a necessary step to maintain your own tranquility. When confronted by envy, respond with patience and equanimity, not with defensiveness or retribution. Recognize that envy is a reflection of their inner turmoil, not a true measure of your worth. Marcus Aurelius counsels us to waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. By embodying virtue and focusing on your own character, you diminish envy's power over you. Ultimately, the Stoic sage understands that true value lies in virtue alone, not in external validation or others' opinions. Protect your mind from the corrosive effects of envy by anchoring your self-worth in wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Nurture your own growth without distraction, and let the envy of others fade into irrelevance, powerless against the strength of a well-ordered soul. Number 8. Liars. Liars distort reality and undermine trust, eroding the emotional safety that forms the foundation of all meaningful relationships. From a Stoic standpoint, honesty is fundamental to living a virtuous life. Truthfulness aligns with the virtue of justice, fairness to others, and fidelity to reality itself. Seneca wrote, "A gift consists not in what is done or given, but in the intention of the giver." Likewise, relationships built on lies are inherently flawed because the very intention is compromised. The Stoics valued the power of reason to discern what is true and to live in accordance with nature, the rational order of the universe. Lying is a betrayal of this principle, an attempt to manipulate perceptions rather than accept and engage with reality as it is. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Liars violate this precept by prioritizing their own desires or gains over truth and integrity. Being entangled with liars drains your emotional energy and creates an environment of suspicion and instability. You are forced to question what is real, eroding your peace of mind and your ability to trust your own judgments. Epictetus teaches that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak, emphasizing the importance of listening carefully and discerning truth. Liars obscure that truth, making it difficult to navigate relationships with clarity. The Stoic response to liars is not to engage in deception or revenge, but to maintain your own integrity and clear boundaries. Protect your inner fortress by refusing to tolerate falsehoods that harm your soul and disrupt your tranquility. Practicing apatheia, freedom from destructive passions, means not allowing yourself to be emotionally manipulated or destabilized by lies. By holding firm to truth and reason, you uphold justice within yourself and in your interactions. This protects your emotional safety and preserves your capacity for genuine connection. Remember, the Stoic sage lives openly and honestly, knowing that the path to virtue is through alignment with truth, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient it may be. Number 9. Control freaks. Control freaks seek to dominate and micromanage every aspect of your life, stifling your autonomy and freedom. They impose their will under the guise of helping or guiding, but in reality they erode your ability to think, choose, and act for yourself. From a Stoic standpoint, this behavior contradicts the essential virtue of autarkia, self-sufficiency, and the principle that true freedom comes from mastering one's own mind and actions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Control freaks attempt to usurp this power by exerting control over external circumstances and even your internal decisions. They disregard the Stoic distinction between what is within our control and what is not, forcing you into a state of dependence and diminished agency. Epictetus teaches that to live a virtuous and tranquil life, one must accept what is outside one's control and focus solely on one's own reasoned choices. Control freaks deny this wisdom, acting from fear, insecurity, or arrogance, and demanding control as a means to soothe their own anxieties. This behavior not only harms you but ultimately undermines their own peace as well. Engaging with control freaks without boundaries risks losing your sense of self and your inner freedom. Stoicism calls for firm but compassionate limits, preserving your autonomy while maintaining respect. Setting boundaries is not confrontation. It is an act of justice to yourself, affirming your right to live according to your own reason and values. The Stoic ideal is to cultivate apatheia, a calm inner fortress, unmoved by external attempts to dominate or manipulate. By responding with reasoned detachment rather than resistance or submission, you maintain your sovereignty and peace. Remember that true leadership and influence come through virtue and example, not coercion. In the end, walking away or limiting, your involvement with control freaks is an expression of self-respect and practical wisdom. Helping should empower, not imprison. As a Stoic, your highest duty is to live in harmony with reason and virtue, never at the cost of your own freedom. Helping others is noble, but true kindness requires wisdom and boundaries. The Stoics remind us that protecting our peace is essential, because you can't give what you don't have. By recognizing these 9 toxic types, you safeguard your way, energy, and live with virtue. As Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Help in ways that empower, not enable, and always prioritize your well-being. That's the Stoic way to live free and true. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more practical Stoic wisdom.